The milestone 50th season of reality television's most iconic competition has already generated massive buzz among fans and former contestants alike, as anticipation builds for what promises to be one of the biggest installments of Survivor. Stories from players about the intense preparation leading into the season have begun to surface. Among them, one contestant's behind-the-scenes anxiety is grabbing attention. Kamilla Karthigesu recently revealed that she feared she might be removed from the cast before the season even began filming, all because of Pregaming. Her concerns shed light on the complex, often controversial reality of preparation for all-star seasons and how contestants attempt to gain early advantages in a game built around deception, trust, and social maneuvering. The pressure of a historic season reaching a 50th season is a monumental achievement for any television series, but for Survivor, it represents something even bigger. Over 2 decades, the show has transformed from a groundbreaking social experiment into a global pop culture phenomenon. The stakes for returning players in milestone seasons tend to be significantly higher because producers carefully select contestants who have left strong impressions on audiences and demonstrated strategic or entertaining gameplay in the past. For Kamilla, being invited back represented both validation and immense pressure. She understood that returning players are often expected to evolve their gameplay, deliver memorable television moments, and compete against opponents who already understand the structure and psychological intensity of the game. The possibility of being cut before even stepping onto the island was, therefore, particularly devastating. According to her, the fear stemmed from one specific issue that has long existed in Survivor's all-star environment, Pregaming. What is Pregaming in Survivor? Pregaming refers to contestants forming alliances, relationships, or strategic agreements before filming officially begins. While not always openly discussed, it has been a recurring element in returning player seasons. Contestants often have existing friendships, shared experiences from previous seasons, or connections formed through fan events and online communities. These relationships can naturally lead to conversations about potential alliances if they were ever to play together again. However, Pregaming exists in a gray area. The show thrives on organic strategy development during filming, and producers aim to preserve unpredictability and fairness. If alliances become too structured before the game begins, it can potentially undermine the core premise of strangers navigating trust in extreme conditions. Kamilla's situation highlights just how delicate that balance can be. Kamilla's fear of being admitted that when she began communicating with other potential contestants, she didn't initially consider how serious the consequences could be. Like many returning players, she was excited and nervous, wanting to maximize her chances of surviving early eliminations in a season expected to be stacked with experienced strategists. As speculation about casting grew and players quietly reached out to one another, she realized the risks involved. Survivor has historically discouraged or monitored pre-gaming behavior, particularly when it appears to create rigid alliances before contestants arrive at the filming location. Her anxiety escalated as she worried that producers might perceive her actions as crossing an invisible line. She reportedly feared being removed from the cast entirely, a nightmare scenario for any returning player who had worked hard to earn another shot at the million prize and Survivor legacy. The fear wasn't unfounded. While rare, producers have been known to make last-minute casting changes to maintain the integrity and unpredictability of the competition. The unique challenges of all-star seasons introduce dynamics that differ drastically from those featuring first-time contestants. Players enter the game with reputations, strategic resumes, and public perceptions that can shape their trajectories before the game even begins. Some contestants are viewed as strategic masterminds, others as social threats, and some as wildcards capable of unpredictable game. These labels can lead to early targeting, making Pregaming particularly tempting for players hoping to secure early protection. For Kamilla, the knowledge that others might already be forming alliances created a sense of urgency. She reportedly feared being left out or becoming an early target if she didn't establish connections ahead of time. This dilemma illustrates the psychological complexity of returning player Survivor seasons. Contestants must balance maintaining fairness and following production expectations, while also ensuring they don't enter the game socially isolated. The role of production oversight. Survivor's production team, led by longtime host and executive producer Jeff Probst, has consistently emphasized maintaining authenticity within the game. The show's format relies heavily on spontaneous strategy and evolving social dynamics, producers often set guidelines discouraging players from creating structured alliances before filming. While casual conversations and friendships are inevitable in the Survivor community, deliberate strategic coordination can raise concerns. Kamilla's fear underscores how seriously contestants take these expectations. Even the possibility of violating production guidelines can generate intense stress, especially when players know how competitive the casting process is. The emotional toll of preparing for Survivor extends far beyond physical training and strategy planning. Contestants often experience emotional and psychological strain in the months leading up to filming. Kamilla described feeling caught between excitement and fear. On one hand, she wanted to perform well and avoid being an early elimination. On the other, she worried that her efforts to prepare socially might jeopardize her opportunity to compete altogether. The uncertainty surrounding Pregaming added another layer of stress to an already demanding process. Contestants must often keep their casting confidential, manage personal responsibilities, and undergo extensive medical and psychological evaluations, all while mentally preparing for the harsh living conditions and intense gameplay awaiting them. The broader Survivor community. One of the most fascinating aspects of Survivor is the close-knit community formed among former contestants. Many players maintain friendships long after their seasons end, attending charity events, fan conventions, and reunion gatherings together. This interconnected network naturally increases the likelihood of pregaming discussions. For players like Kamilla, navigating friendships while avoiding strategic conversations can be extremely difficult. The Survivor community is also highly analytical. Former contestants often dissect gameplay strategies, discuss alliance-building techniques, and share insights that can influence future seasons. These discussions, while intellectually engaging, can blur the line between general conversation and strategic coordination. Fan reactions to Pregaming controversy. Prim has long been a controversial topic among Survivor fans. Some viewers believe it adds realism to the game, arguing that experienced players would naturally attempt to gain advantages whenever possible. Others feel it undermines fairness and reduces the unpredictability that makes Survivor compelling. Kamilla's openness about her fears has sparked discussions among fans about how production should handle Pregaming. Some supporters sympathize with her, noting that the competitive environment almost forces contestants to prepare socially. Others argue that strict enforcement of anti-Pregaming guidelines is essential to preserve the integrity of the game. These debates reflect the evolving nature of Survivor and how its audience continues to engage deeply with the strategic elements of the show. Survivor's filming and seasons of Survivor are filmed in Fiji, which has become the show's permanent home due to its diverse landscapes and production-friendly environment. The remote setting contributes to the isolation and intensity of gameplay, forcing contestants to rely entirely on social relationships and strategic thinking. For returning players, entering this environment can feel both familiar and intimidating. They know the challenges awaiting them, but also understand that their reputations may place targets on their backs from day one. Kamilla's Pregaming concerns highlight how much the game begins long before contestants reach the beaches of Fiji. The psychological warfare often starts during casting, as players attempt to anticipate threats and secure allies. Learning from past seasons. Survivor history is filled with examples of Pregaming influencing gameplay. Some alliances formed before filming have successfully dominated seasons, while others have collapsed under the pressure of resultant gameplay dynamics. Experienced players often understand that pre-existing alliances rarely remain stable once the game begins. Hunger, exhaustion, paranoia, and shifting power structures can quickly dismantle even the most carefully planned strategies. Kamilla acknowledged that despite her worries, she recognized the unpredictability of Survivor. Even if Pregaming alliances existed, they could easily dissolve once players were forced to compete for individual survival. The mental game behind Survivor is often described as a social experiment, and Kamilla's story highlights the intense psychological preparation required. Contestants must anticipate betrayal, manage trust, and constantly reassess their positions within alliances. The fear of being removed from the cast before playing demonstrates